There is global outrage today after Iran sentenced a top human rights lawyer to prison time. Nasrin Sotoudeh's family says she'll receive 148 lashes and serve 38 years behind bars. However, there are conflicting reports over her sentence. The UN says it's anywhere from 7 to 33 years.
Regardless, the move has been met with global condemnation. Sotoudeh was charged with a list of offenses, including spying, spreading propaganda, and insulting Iran's supreme leader. She has denied all of them. CBS News senior foreign correspondent Elizabeth Palmer is following the story for us from our London bureau. So, Liz, you know, I think a lot of people might not know much about Sotoudeh. I think she's only sort of become a national figure, an international figure over the last day or so. So take us through her case.
She is one of the bravest voices in Iran. She's known for defending the women who have chosen to take off their scarves in public most recently, but she's also spoken out against, for example, juveniles being put to death under Iran's Islamic law. In Iran, she's extremely well known because she's so vocal, and she stood outside the Bar Association every day for 6 months protesting the regime's decision to have her lawyer's qualification revoked. She's also been on numerous hunger strikes. All this to say that she's a long-time, very outspoken opponent of the regime, and she received the very prestigious Sakharov Prize in 2012 for her work defending dissidents. This most recent imprisonment occurred in June, and it was probably for defending those women who took their scarves off in public, but the Iranian regime maintains that she was guilty of insulting the supreme leader and also ill-defined crimes of national security against the state.
Liz, you've spent a number of years covering Iran. You know, I'm always intrigued and fascinated by those old photos of Tehran before the Iranian Revolution. And you've seen the same ones in Kabul, for example, before the Soviet occupation of that country in Afghanistan. I wonder what life is like for women there and human rights activists and lawyers. I mean, I know everybody, you know, we've had the story of Jason Rezai, and our own Roxana Saberi was in prison in Iran. But has life changed at all for some women, or is this still very perilous to try and get women some of those rights that she's been fighting for?
The Islamic regime sets great store by having women wear a headscarf in public. Iranian women I know who are highly educated and very accomplished just put up with it. They just even joke and say, look, it's a good thing on a bad hair day. In fact, there's a certain resentment, and quite recently women have decided to take off their hijabs in public and make the point that they don't want it to be compulsory. But though wearing a scarf in public is probably not the most onerous aspect of life for women in Iran. There are very poor protections against, for example, domestic abuse. Women have very little access to their children after divorce if their husbands don't want them to. And they really face a lot of prejudice if they try and do things, for example, like go out alone or live as a single mother. There's enormous legal and kind of social pressure for them to conform to become wives and mothers. So it's a kind of a mixed bag, and Sotoudeh was the bravest, I think the bravest voice, speaking out to try and defend women who just wanted to occupy what they thought was a legitimate space for a modern, educated woman in Iran.
We'll be tracking this story closely. I know you will, Liz. Thank you very much. We appreciate it as always.
Pleasure.